Thank you for coming. We feel very honored to stand here before you and very heartened to see this much enthusiasm and activity centered around what has obviously meant so very much to us. So again, I just want to say thank you. And give yourselves a round of applause for that. You're doing the right thing. That's the best you can do. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you. John and I have been doing this portion of talking about this book for the past week or so, and we have a shtick, for lack of a better term, that we can go into that can be anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour and a half long, but we're not going to bore you with that whole thing. I just want to say that something that's happened, and it's sort of coincidental and it's never planned, and it just sort of worked out that this book came out at a time when we feel that there are several, we're at a confluence of events that could really make change very possible for the people in Darfur. And there are four sort of watershed moments that we think we're seeing now. One of them being the Plan B that is sitting in the wings, if it's not yet on the president's desk, it may be very soon, that will actually have a real effect, hopefully, in the region. It's a plan that has measures in it that will give real teeth to some sanctions and targeted travel bans and assets being frozen and potentially a no-fly zone enforced, though we're not so sure about that. But more to the point, it's going to show that we want to get more strenuously involved in this, and by we I mean this country and our administration, who has called this a genocide, the first sitting president to do so while the genocide is actually occurring. So we have hopes for that, and we want you to press and be movers and shakers on seeing that that comes forward and not let that issue just sort of fall off the map. The other is that we have a democratic process, somewhat, in this country, and yeah, 48 out of 50 states, that ain't bad. So, we have elections coming up very soon. And John and I have been discussing over the past week a letter that we want to write and make sure that we inject this question in the debates that are going to be coming up very soon. And we want to hear where these candidates stand on these issues. And at least 6 of them have either traveled to the region or written extensively about it. And we want to hear their opinions, and we want to know what their policy is going to be, what their agenda is going to be with regards to Darfur. And we want to make sure that that's a pressure point that we poke very hard in these coming weeks and months. Also, it was just been announced recently that the EU, the European Union, has decided if by June, which is great, we have an actual time, not just somewhere in the future, not a threaten, but if by June something doesn't happen, that they will act more strongly, and hopefully our government will be embarrassed by that if they've done nothing by then and be pulled into that as well. So this is another pressure point, this is another potential watershed moment. And in 2008, we have the Olympics coming up, and everyone says hi to Joey Cheek over there, with whom I traveled to China and Egypt. And when we were in China, we spoke about this and met with the leaders of the government there, who really want to spin this as their slogan for these games is "One World, One Dream." And we said, well, for some right now, it's one world, one nightmare. And we want to make sure that while they're trying to spin their games and show that they now have an open attitude and a real beneficent sort of take on things, that we say there's something going on across the world that you're actually a big part of because of their oil revenues and because of the relationship that those two countries share. So we want to make sure that these are at least the 4 areas. If you're asking what to do and where do we apply pressure and what's the most noise we should make and what should we talk about, that you talk about these 4 things, and that you take stock in your own self and find how you can interject yourself into those arguments and those areas of influence. And I'm going to cut it short there and let John take over.